What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar. We're going to be breaking down the futures contract per usual. We're going to be looking at our ES futures contract. Start of the new year. Looking forward to how the year shapes up for us. Looks like we could potentially have a very, very strong year with a lot of people expecting new highs to continue for the ES futures contract, the NASDAQ, and the Dow potentially hitting the 40,000 mark milestone at some point in the future. So very positive across the board. The only thing that needs to catch up would be the Russell. The Russell 2000 has just been lagging behind, as it has been in a very large balance. And if you guys want to look at that, we can look at that some other day. But for now, we're just going to look at our futures contract here. We closed out last month of December, and the last month of 2023 year rather positive. As we one time frame up, right? We broke out of this very large balance that we were in. We are now one time framing up 1 month, 2 month. If we continue to one time frame up this month, the start of January, right? So we need to take out the all-time high of 48.3975. If we take out that all-time high there, we will obviously continue to one time frame up and continue to set new all-time highs on the year. All-time highs for the year, and then for the ES. One thing we should look at real quick is, let's see here, move that out the way. One thing we should look at is going to be the SPY, okay? SPY has yet to hit their all-time high, 479.98, okay? So SPY has not quite gotten there yet. We've just missed it. The high going into the last bit of the month, last month for SPY was 477.55. Okay, 477.55. So we just missed it by a couple bucks, getting that all-time high. We just missed getting that. So it is an inside year for the SPY, looking to come out of that to the upside. Now, SPY is one time framing up on the monthly time frame, and so if the trend were to continue, we should easily take out last month's high and get that all-time high 479.98. And finally, the SPY will begin to set all-time highs on their chart. Now, for us on the ES, we were already there. Find my chart there. For us on the ES, we are already there. And we look to continue to do so moving forward. Okay, so looking to continue to one time frame up by taking out the monthly high of 48.3975. Now the weekly, things have changed here on the weekly. Finally, it's not a terrible thing. Okay, it's not the worst thing in the world to have a little bit of a pullback, and we are starting to get that. Now the only thing that is worrisome is on the daily time frame and the 30-minute time frame, the smaller time frames we'll look at, is we have a lot of days that have highs close to each other, and we've backed off a good little bit. So initially, we have come back into a balance. I've been saying this for I think the last 2 weeks. I've been saying from in earlier videos that the measurement for the most part on the upside, typically the one time framing up runs about 9 to 12 weeks on the upside. Okay, 9 to 12 weeks. We've been one time framing up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, and finally we've gotten a pullback. Now, it's like I said, it's not unhealthy for the market to have a pullback. It is a very healthy thing, right? We want to establish some firm buying up here and gather more troops at the border here to continue to push up higher, right? That's what we're trying to do. Find acceptance of price up here and continue to push up. So far, above 4,800, had a bit of trouble finding acceptance up there. Okay, so now we want to see as buyers, we want to see us hold above 4,750. Essentially, above 4,700 would be, very, very big. But initially, we are back to a balance. Okay, since this is the first week that we've taken out a previous weekly low, right? So we took out last week's low. Since this is the first week we've taken out a weekly low, initially we are in a 3-week balance, okay? However, we can continue to pull back, not saying we're going to, but we can continue to pull back and get this low here at 47.43.25, okay? We get that low, then the balance just continues to get larger, right? This balance can continue to get larger as it is forming, okay? This whole balance is becoming or is forming as we know it right now, as this is the first week of January. So if we continue to pull back, then we'll begin to encompass this week and use that weekly low of 46.53, okay? But as of right now, not really looking for that much of a pullback. That would be a rather large pullback from the high there, roughly 4% off the highs, which not unhealthy, but not looking for that, especially the way the market acted today as we failed to go trend down and just really couldn't get much on the sell side. However, right now, initial 3-week balance is what we're starting out with. At the beginning of this trading week, I'm not going to mark anything, but going into the end, if we continue to hold in this range here between 48.39.75 and 47.43.25, I will mark us in the balance there, okay? And let's look at the daily real quick, and then we'll go into our 30-minute time frames and kind of give you guys an update on that end. So daily broke out of a balance. We are one time framing down on the daily time frame. One time framing down. We were in a balance that was rather large when we had this pullback here on that liquidation break back in December. We came back, we came into a balance, and then we began to one time frame up again. 3 days in a row. Didn't get much extension to the upside. Very, very light and low volume going into the end of the year. And then we had a pullback, which put ourselves into a balance, an initial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day balance. Okay. So we were in a 5-day balance, and then today we took that balance out, balance low out, right? We went out on Friday with a double distribution day down, and then today we opened up with a gap to the downside and took out the balance low, took out that weekly low, which put ourselves into a balance on the weekly, and now we are one time framing down on the daily, right? So for sellers, they want to get the ball rolling. They need to continue to one time frame down. Continue to pull back on, getting closer to that low down here at 46.53, which, I'm not looking for that to happen. It is a possibility, very low chance, very low probability that happens, but it can, and it's not something to ignore. So sellers, if they want to, they can continue to one time frame down, and then eventually get the weekly to one time framing down, which once again, I'm not looking for. We're in a bull market. This market wants to continue to push up higher. So it is a healthy pullback right now, very healthy pullback, giving buyers an opportunity to step back into the market and find acceptance above that 4,700 level. We do have the 20-day moving average here at 47.31. So we could continue to pull back, right, to that 20-day moving average and hold around that area and see what this market wants to do around that area, right? So, not really looking for much, but we are one time framing down on the daily. However, tomorrow, if we take out today's high of 47.9750, we will come back into an initial 3-day balance, right? So to stop the one time framing down on the downside, buyers need to take out today's high. Okay, sellers need to take out today's low in order for us to continue to one time frame down and then attack these daily lows down here. Something I want to keep in mind, we'll look at on the 30-minute time frame, is we've held the double distribution day down. So these are all my destinations for those of you that are new to the channel. 30-minute time frame here, we're looking at the volume profile, market profile, however you want to say it. Both are very similar. But we're looking at our 30-minute time frame, and you can see for the first time in a while, we have value that is going lower. Now, value, what is value? Value is 70% of where 70% of the volume was spent in price. Okay, so for the first time in a while, we have value being brought lower. Sellers want to continue to do that, right? Sellers want to continue to bring value lower in order for them to get any traction on the downside. So just to review Friday's price action, we opened up, pushed down, and pretty much just attempted to go triple distribution on the downside, failed, but only ended up with a double distribution set of single prints on the upside here. So if tomorrow, and it's a rather large distribution to say the least, so if tomorrow we take out today's high of 97.50, get back into Friday's range, back into that lower distribution and find any acceptance, you will most likely go and test that where the single prints start at 48.23 and then they fill at 48.27. Now for our downside, if we hold below that lower distribution, something I was keeping in mind was where the distribution began, because we had a double distribution day on the downside here. So where we had another distribution down here, we attempted to find acceptance in, but did not, and found rejection. I'm keeping an eye on this 72 level, okay? Right in this area, okay? I'm keeping an eye on this area, okay? We rejected out of there last time we were there, and then that resumed us back to the upside. Are we going to do the same? Are we going to reject out of this price action, or are we going to find acceptance below that 72? Okay, if we find acceptance below 72 today, initially, once we got below it, there was nothing there, right? Sellers, after failing to go trend up, filling the gap, we came all the way down and took out the other side of the initial balance again. We came down to the downside and couldn't even get to that low of day, right? So buyers still very strong coming into this market, right? And sellers just really not present there below that 72 level, as in the last 30 minutes of the time frame or last 30 minutes of the day, we pretty much had a straight V shot to the upside again, getting very, very close to our high day. So all we go out with today is our high and our low. No wide point of control really to speak of. We took out both sides of the initial balance. For those of you that don't know what the initial balance is, it's the first two time frames of the trading day, right? The first 30-minute time frames of the trading day. That range. Today it was all of A's range. Okay, so we took out both sides of it. We took it out on the downside. We took out A's low, right, 74, and then later we took out the high at 89.75. It was a rather small range. The likelihood of that happening was good. Then we pushed up, filled that gap, and man, that was one hell of a short up there at the 96 level. I was actually short on the way up. I was short 92, and it just really wasn't doing anything for me, so I took it off break even. I should have either been more patient on the trade and gotten in at 96, as it to come back in. I was looking for this to come back in where half back at the time was around 84, and I was looking for that, and I would have paid had I held on to the trade or added up there and held on to the trade. Obviously, anybody that did get short and was shooting for the lows, I mean, anybody that says they caught this full move is full of shit. But there are some phenomenal traders out there that may have caught majority of this move to the downside, and obviously there was some short covering down here, and then buyers stepping into the market, which dried up anybody that was any type of liquidation down here, and then boom, we shot to the upside. So shorts got trapped up here, longs got trapped up here, end with a nothing day. Now let's go ahead and mark our destinations real quick, and then get you guys out of here. If you are enjoying the content, leave a like down below. If there's any questions you have about some of the terminology I'm using, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll do my best to help explain that. It's gonna be weird trying to get used to typing in 24. So yeah, we just got out with the day's high and the day's low. We are one time framing down on the daily, back to balance on the weekly. So it'll be very interesting to see what the sellers can do. Right? Are the long-term holders of this market beginning to panic a little bit? if they were, we would see some volume increase, but today we really didn't see that on the downside. Nope, let me turn that green. Turn that green. So there you have it. Let's go over our destinations once more. So upside destination, it's going to be 47.9750. If we find acceptance, where I'm about to highlight this lower distribution from Friday, if we find any acceptance within this range, your upside destination is going to be initially 48.15, okay, because we had a point of control right there. What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 time frames. So it was 8 wide. So nothing to ignore. So we were 8 wide around that 48.15 level. So the market could easily push back up to that area with any acceptance back into that day's range. Okay, so we get above 47.97, get above 4,800. 48.15 is next, then 48.23 with a single print start, and then 47 or 48.27 will be the next upside destination. And then you have this upper distribution, right? Double distribution, they both act as separate days. So we have the upper distribution up here, and then that high day at 48.35, and then you're back to the all-time highs. Now on the downside, once again, keeping an eye on that 72 level, where that distribution was from that trend day down, and then we rejected out of it the next day. So stuck between, right? You don't want to be long, or it's going to be tough to want to be long above 4,800 unless you start to see some smaller time frames acceptance. And it's going to be tough to be short down here unless you begin to see volume and acceptance below that 72 level. So on the downside, 47.6550. If we get that, you should get 47.5550 and then 47.48. Now, the reason I give out both sides is because we see oftentimes this market very easily can move in wild ways, and you never know, which way the market's going to go. No one knows which way the market goes, but right now the market generated information that we have is telling us, with value being lower, and we are one time framing down on the daily, that the likelihood of taking out a day's low is better than, or the chance of us taking it out, the probability of taking out a day's low is better than taking out a daily high. But everything in context, we are in a bull market right now, so we could just as easily take out the upside destinations as well. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like down below. Going to be trying to get back on my trading horse, back up on the horse, trading again. Small, very small. We're going to start out very small this year, and then work on scaling as we go. We got the 50K account going, so hopefully we can get this thing rolling to the upside. So we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.